Hey everyone, it's Brian Cookay, and in today's video I want to share with you guys what I consider to be the ultimate iOS 16 home screen setup. My goal for this home screen was to be functional but at the same time unique, and I wanted it to have all the apps that I would need in my daily life in just one page, together with a side widget page to be able to have a few extra handy options. So let's start with an overview of how the home screen is composed. The first thing we can talk about is the wallpaper that I'm using. I personally made this wallpaper especially for this setup. I wanted it to be a gradient wallpaper that stands out and blends in at the same time. And I also wanted to hide the notch of my iPhone to have a cleaner look. And altogether I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. I'm also using a blackout version of this wallpaper for the lock screen that is more neutral and it's easier on the eyes. If you guys want to use this same wallpaper for your home screen, you will find a link to download them in the description. Just make sure to resize them down if you happen to have a smaller phone, so the notch of your phone will be properly hidden. But moving on to a very unusual and eye-catching choice I made for this setup, we can find at the top of the screen these few social apps and Spotify. For accomplishing this look, I've used an app called Top Widget, as they are in fact a widget and not individual apps. I personally enjoy the unique way they look, as they remind me somewhat of the blue and red pill from the Matrix, and by having this shape, it's as well in a way reminding me that they can be quite addictive too. I also like that it's very easy to find them when I need them, as in the end they are some of the apps that I use the most during my typical day. I'm going to guide you later in the video on how to get this exact look. For now we can move on to the next section that is also pretty awesome. Just under we can find 3 different widgets stacked into one. The plan here was to have easy access to some crucial information without taking up the whole home screen. I chose to have the weather app that comes with iOS that displays all the info I usually need, and it's been quite nice to have this set up as I'm currently living in Norway and the weather here can be quite unstable, so it's nice to know what the weather is gonna be like in the upcoming hours. Then with a swipe, the next widget we see is the calendar, that also is really convenient for many reasons. In fact, I bet many of you are probably already using it on your home screen. Here too I decided to use the standard iPhone calendar app, as I find it being clear and concise and I didn't want to overcomplicate things if not needed. The last but not least widget is the screen time. I personally find it very useful to have this option easily accessible, as having a view of how much time I spent during a day in the different apps makes me better understanding which exact way I'm using my phone each day, and helps me realizing for instance that maybe I should spend less time on socials and more doing useful things. I highly suggest you guys try out for yourself and you'll be amazed of how much time you actually spend in some apps. Anyways, the section just under is composed of 2 different folders. One which contains all of my messaging and calling apps plus my mail app, and the folder that contains the apps that I consider utilities. Imagine it as if it was to be a box which inside stores my most used tools that I want to have easy access to. But let's start with this communication folder. Having all of my text and call apps in one place has been a new approach for me, as I usually have them directly on the home screen and they end up taking a good portion of it. While in this way they take up very little space, and it's also very easy to know if someone mailed, called or texted me, as I will get a small red notification on top, and once opened I have a complete overview of who contacted me and in which way. While going back to the utility folder, I basically just keep in my mind that every time I need an app to do something, that's where I need to look. For instance, I may need to go to the phone settings, here we go. Or maybe I need to quickly check my internet connection. Or again, maybe I need to use the calculator real fast. Or maybe turn on some lights in the house through the Google Home app. Under here, I decided to keep a special spot for YouTube and Google Chrome, that I use so much in my days. And next to them we can find a reminders list that blends in with the background and helps decluttering the home screen. For this again I use the Top Widget app. Then for the main bar I made some very personal choices based on what is useful for my needs. I decided to have the camera and photos app and a shortcut that easily makes it possible for me to airdrop images to my Mac Mini. I'm posting usually 1 video per week here on YouTube, and I actually use my phone to record those videos. This setup allows me to quickly access what I need when I'm filming, and has been a small but effective improvement in the process of me making content on YouTube. Now we will soon get into the guide on how to create this home screen, but before that we can have a fast look at the widget side page I mentioned earlier. Scrolling to the left, I can see a few details about my Tesla Model 3. Here I'm able to see the current charge level, and I also have some custom commands like unlocking the car, unlocking its charging port, opening the boot, and so on. While on the next widget, I have a really clear overview on the charge levels of both my iPhone and the devices I have connected to it. It's convenient having it here instead of on the home screen, as it's not something I want to have a look at each time I'm using my phone. Next, we have one widget which easily lets me send or receive money, and this app can be used just in the country I'm living in, unfortunately, so I invite you to do some research to find one that works in your country if you would like to have a similar option. Lastly, we have a few different clocks that help me orientate through the different time zones, and can often come pretty handy in some situations. For example, you may want to know at what time a specific event is happening in a country that uses a different time zone. That basically happens to me all the time. I also nearly forgot that I have as well personalized the lock screen, and I decided to keep it pretty simple. The lock screen displays the most basic info like time, temperature, current date, and a few reminders, and also a widget that shows me if I have any alarms on and lets me easily place one if I don't. So now I'm gonna quickly show you how to accomplish this pill-shaped look for your apps and how to set a clear background, plus how to set the different widgets and the reminder list. First of all, if you haven't already, you can download the top widget app. In the meanwhile, we can take a screenshot of the home screen with the wallpaper that we are going to use. If you're gonna use the wallpaper I've made, you can actually skip this part. For the rest of you, you can take the screenshot by long pressing on the home and then scroll to the right, and then take a screenshot of this empty page. Once that is done, we can then move on to open the top widget app and go ahead to choose the screenshot we just took, or in my case the wallpaper I've made. Now that we have done that, we can take care of the different widgets. We can head to the home page of the top widget app and scroll down until we see shortcut 2.0. Here we have the possibility to set different apps we want to add. Once we pick what we like, we can then select the theme to the right that will turn our apps into this 3D looking pill. We can also select where in the home screen we're going to have the widget, so that it will appear with a transparent background. Once that is done, we can save and then head to the home screen where we can long press until our apps will start jiggling. We can then click the plus sign at the top, and from there select the top widget app and choose the medium widget size. We can then tap on it and select the widget we previously created. And here as well we have the option to set the transparent background in case we missed to do that previously. For the reminder list, the process is basically the same. We just have to look for the to-do list in the widget app and from there choose how we want it to look. For stacking the widgets like I did here, you can just create the different widgets you like to have stacked, and once in the home screen you can just add them on top of each other. It's really this simple, but some of you maybe didn't know about this feature. And that's basically it. The rest is very easy to put together, and if there is something you don't know to do, leave a comment down below and I will try to help you out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video or at least got some inspiration for your home screen, and if you did so, please consider subscribing and leaving a like, as it's always appreciated. For today it's a wrap, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace, Cookie out.